Good morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning, everyone. How's everybody doing this morning? Welcome into the walk and talk, people. Let's get up, let's get at it, let's get going. Today is Thursday, October the 16th. The year is, or it's today the 15th. I think today is the 15th, isn't it? Maybe it's the 16th. I gotta check my time real quick. Hold on. I can't see well with my glasses off. How's everybody doing this morning? Welcome up. Thank you for being here. Oh man, I need to clean those. Yes, today is October the 16th. It is now 5:17 in the morning here on the East Coast of the United States. I want to thank everybody for being here this morning. Let me know if there's any issues with the audio. Welcome here in the Northeast and Maryland. People, as I keep saying, fall is amongst us, is upon us. So, as we continue to move forward into the year, into the morning, into the days, thank you for being here with me. Thank you for being a part of this walk and talk. I appreciate all your continued support as we continue to grow. This morning, I want to get to a point, I want to get to something real. Bottom line, people, peace is power. And today, I'm going to explain to you what I mean by that. I want to explain to you what it means to have peace as power, how it shapes you, how it helps you grow, what it brings into your future, into your life. We're going to talk about how to use peace to help you grow, not just as a word or a passive way of showing resistance, but as a way to develop yourself, to strengthen you, to strengthen those around you, and with discipline to move you closer to your goal and your purpose. Hope everyone's feeling good this morning. As you stop in, as always, people, please do me a favor. Let me know where you're checking in from, what time of day it is where you are. Amir. Indeed. Thank you, Amir. Thank you for stopping in this morning. Welcome in. We have to remember, people, there is power in peace. True power, not the type that avoids conflict, but the type that rises up to conquer it, to lead you forward, to shape your destiny. Peace allows for your purpose to flourish. Do not assume because someone is peaceful that they are in some way docile. Peace is where we plan, it's where we strategize, it's where we build. And today, we're gonna learn how peace is powerful. I'm gonna talk about it. As always, guys, please, as you check in, let me know where you're checking in from, what time of day it is where you are. Hope you guys are enjoying your morning. As always, on the walk and talk, step in, enjoy. Make sure you speak to my wife, guys. That very first comment at the top is my wife, my life. Make sure you take the opportunity to say hello and good morning to her. Also visit the channel. Our family channel is the Baby Birds. You can visit it. My wife manages that page. That's a great place for you to be able to visit, see more about who we are as a family and how we are in our day-to-day life. Here's the top of the hill, people. So welcome in, everyone. Thank you for being here. Let's get going today. Let's move with purpose, people. Let's move with intention, with determination. You know, we get up in the morning and sometimes, especially as the weather starts to become a little colder, a little less warm, we start finding ourselves moving back inside. Let's stretch that out, some people. Let's get out here. Let's be a part of starting our life. All right? It doesn't matter right now. Start of the day, end of the day, beginning of the day, wherever you are, let's take this time to take in this motivation, to take in this encouragement, and understand that our activities, our actions, and our behaviors serve a purpose. When we develop an understanding of our purpose and we walk in it, great things are achievable. Awesome things are achievable. Today, we're talking about how we do that with peace. How we do that not with peace amongst others, but with peace within ourselves. See, oftentimes, we believe that peace is something that has to come from those around us. But first, before we can begin to invite peace or find a space of peace within the world, in our little piece of the world, we have to be able to find that peace within ourselves. We have to be able to look at ourselves, identify what peace really is, and then how to achieve it. So many of us cannot sit down with ourselves without stress, anxiety, concern, so many things that just stop us at the beginning from achieving peace, that get in the way of our daily, intimate, individual time as being a peaceful place. We need to get there because that is a sign of true growth, people. Peace is not giving up. Peace isn't weak. Peace is probably the most powerful place, attribute, emotion that you can work in. Because inside of peace, when there's chaos around you, you're still calm because you know that you're founded and you're grounded in the truth. You're grounded in actionable principles and behaviors that can truly work. Don't worry about it, Lucifer. I won't cry long. Good morning, Black Sosa. Is that Black Sosa? Welcome in. Thank you guys for being here on the Walk and Talk. And so, when I talk to you guys and I say that we have to achieve peace and that peace is powerful, it's true. It's true. And one of the things that we have to understand is that when we show peace, peace doesn't mean not having concern. I think that's one of the things that people assume is one of the biggest attributes of peace, is that, oh, he's so peaceful, he doesn't have any concerns. No, that doesn't mean you don't have concerns. That doesn't mean you don't have things that you are trying to achieve. It doesn't mean that everything is perfect. Having peace is understanding that in the midst of that, you are still in control of your next step. You are still in control of your decisions, your actions, your direction. That's important because as we get less peaceful, as we start to allow for our response to the environment, our response to our own heart rate rising, our own thoughts, our own concerns, as we start to let that happen, we fall further and further out of peace and further out of alignment. We're less capable of being able to deal with it because our mind does not function well in chaos. It does not function well in disarray. As we bring things into order, as we line things up, we're able to start taking credible, tangible steps towards moving forward. I love it because for me, peace is a passion, right? Like peace is like, so there's this view that peace has to be Namaste, right? You have to sit down and you have to be still to be peaceful. Well, those are physical attributes of peace, right? But we've seen people sit still who've had no peace, who have been in complete disarray on the inside. We've seen instance after instance and experienced in our life, even in recent history, people who are torn on the inside, who are damaged, who are afraid, and they are sitting still, but they're not at peace. And so we attach these physical attributes to meaning that something is peaceful. All right, that's good for a lake. You know what I'm saying? That's good for a lake, but we are not standing bodies of water. We're individuals. And as individuals and as humans, we have things that are inside of us that will determine what is peace, how peace works, and how we work. Good morning. Is that Gallery? Oh, man. Jesus Christ. Nah. Thank you for stopping in. We ain't gonna talk no more, though. Our conversation is over, Gallery. So, this is the thing that's important, guys. I want to appreciate you for being here this morning. I want to thank you for being a part of this walk and talk. As the channel continues to grow, I want to appreciate everyone who's been here from the beginning, those who have stopped in, supported, and continued to help us get the message out, those who have learned the principles and benefits of discipline, those of us who've been able to continue to grow ourselves, grow our perspective, and broaden our peace. It is wonderful to have you here and have you be a part of this process. Please, everyone, take the time as you drop in to complete the survey. Take a look, answer the questions on what comes to your mind when you think about chaos, what comes to your mind when you think about peace. How does peace appear to you? How does it show up? And so, as we continue to have this conversation, continue to talk about peace, I'd love to hear from you guys about peace, how peace has been powerful in your life, how peace has allowed for you to overcome. Or maybe you're seeking peace. Maybe you're trying to find peace. You're trying to establish what peace is and what it means to you. I would like to take this opportunity to give you guys a chance to share. I'd love to hear from you. Mr. Mulatto, welcome in this morning. How are you doing today, brother? Good to see you here. Thank you for being a part of the walk and talk. Thank you for being on the share. Always nice to have you guys stop in. So, my personal journey with peace, because for so many of us, right, we've always assumed that peace was the opposite of anger, right? So if you're angry, you need to find peace, right? That like anger is the antithesis, it's the opposite of peace. And that's because we don't really have a full understanding of anger and why we're angry and how we become angry. As we start to learn about that, that changes. Looks like Donald said, does peace always require a little isolation? It does not. And I think that's what I was trying to point out earlier, is that peace isn't about the environment, right? Peace isn't about, it's literally peace is shown, right, in the environment of chaos. We don't really understand peace until we're in an environment where others are not at peace. And I don't mean where people are frantic or people are or emotional or energetic. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about peace. Peace shows when there's a change in the political climate and in the housing market and in the cost of living, and then everyone's out there yelling at the top of their lungs, screaming, what am I supposed to do? Sitting in solitude, lamenting their life, trying to figure out, oh God, what do I need to do? What's going to happen to my family? Like, that peace is an internal thing, right? And so it doesn't require solitude. What it requires is a understanding of ourself and our purpose. That's why I say peace is power, because when things change, when our circumstances become chaotic, peace allows for us to stop, understand where we are, understand where we're going, and understand that even though the things around us may change, and we may have to change certain activities or certain decisions, there's no reason for panic. There's no reason for disarray. There's no reason for chaos, because we're still living within a structure. But we can't do that if we don't have peace, right? So peace isn't just about, hey, I want it to be quiet, right? It's not about that. It's about having peace in the center of your being and your decision-making process. Have you had an experience recently with peace, Donald? How are you dealing with or achieving peace? Of course, AA, that's exactly what I mean, right? Because one of the things that peace allows for you to do is peace allows for you to understand there are things that are within your control. And those things that are within your control, you need to be in full power of. You need to, if they're within your control, you need to make sure you're controlling them, that you're focused on where you're going, that you know the details, and that you have the ability to do something about it. See, like I said, peace is passion for me because I speak passionately, and oftentimes people take this passion as being anger or resentment. It's not. It's having confidence. There's this thing that says, my brother was telling me about it. It's something Kruger effect, which essentially says the less a person knows, the more confident they are in what they say, right? Because if we don't have a background or a knowledge or an understanding of something, the less understanding we are of something, then the more we can say out of our mouth that this is right, this is the thing to do, right? But see, there's a converse to that. The flip side of that is for those of us who study, for those of us who take the time to learn, to implement, and to do, we don't talk about what we are in comparison to others. And for most people, this is the area it falls into. We talk about what we know and what we do and who we are in the moment. The people have the power against the government. Awesome, AA. We need to get back to the roots of community between people. Peace will come when we unite. You don't have to wait for people to have peace, right? That's the thing, is you're talking about a reduction in conflict. You're talking about the removal of anger and war, right? So that's what I'm saying, is we believe that the difference between peace is war. Like, we believe the book, War and Peace. You understand in order for you, so I'll give you an example. I was just talking earlier about people say, hey, peace is sitting still, right? And I explained that we've seen people do horrific things who found time to be alone. Your biggest mass murderers, your killers, your assassins, The people who we consider to be most dangerous are the people who walk away from society, who separate themselves from society. And then we say, oh, they have so much rage. And then they believe the way to quiet that rage is to kill others, to reach out and attack others outside of them, outside of their life, outside of their space. And then we assume that the activities that they are taking on they come from a place of not having peace, when they literally come from a place of where they're sitting quietly and they're thinking. And so we have to get away from this assumption that peace is a behavior. Peace isn't a behavior. It's not. It's a way of being. It's a way of living. It's an understanding. It's an emotion, right? Because I was watching a young lady speak yesterday. I believe her name is Dr. Feldman, and she's written some books about emotion. And she explained, and this was interesting, it's one of the most interesting points that I heard about, that I thought of. She was explaining that 35% of the time when people are angry, they scowl. That's 35% of the time. But we associate that with anger. When we see people who are doing this, we're like, hey man, what's wrong? You okay? But keep in mind, when people are angry, that only happens 35% of the time. That outward thing that we see is the behavior, it's the action. The thing that we don't see is what is the catalyst for it. And so the estimation is that everyone who strikes out in violence has no peace. Everyone who scowls has no peace. The second part of it that she shared is that 65% of the time when people are angry, they do not scowl. Which means if you're in a room with 100 angry people, 35 of them are scowling, 65 of them are not. And you believe that the ones who aren't scowling are okay, right? Like, you ever spoke to somebody? Hey man, how you doing? They just sitting there. You speak to them, hey man, why are you always messing with me? And you're like, oh, wait a minute. Where did that come from, right? That experience is because we assume that the outward behavior, the visual, is the determination of peace, and it's not. Hey guys, you see down there in the chat? That's Life, that's my wife. Good morning, sweetheart. How are you doing, my love? You guys make sure you say good morning to my wife. Make sure you go ahead and take a look at our family channel. It's called The Baby Birds. I've mentioned it earlier, guys, but really it's a great way to see how these things that I talk about in the walk and talks are actual part of our life, actual part of how we live, what we do. And so that's important, guys, for you to know that this isn't just talk. We don't just walk around and just talk about behaviors, talk about actions. We implement them. Okay? I'm talking about walking down the road without feeling fear in your own streets. It's a sad reality. Okay, here's the thing though. Why do you feel fear in your streets, AA? Peace is difficult when you have daily trials and tribulations, but you spend your life trying to strike the right balance. I hear you, man. I'm not knocking anything you're saying. I'm still with you, AA. Mathematics said, all right. Mathematics said nothing. So, AA, I don't know if you're still here, boss, but here's what I want to share with you. I get you. I hear what you're saying. That is what I'm trying to share with you this morning. That's the point that we're making this morning and the understanding that we're establishing this morning. That understanding is that peace comes from exactly being in those situations. It comes from being in those trials and those tribulations, being in those environments, being in those situations where things are challenging and continuing to rise up, continuing to speak, continuing to move forward, continuing to understand that your path and your purpose is there. One of the biggest things that are going to be necessary for us to arrive at peace is to know the difference between anything and everything. So many of us lose out on opportunities to move forward in our life because we stop looking at anything and we start looking at everything. AA says those trials and tribulations can make it break you. It can, which is why we need peace. Hey, bro, listen to me, AA. I'm not just talking because it's like, hey, I got words. I'm telling you from experience. I'm telling you from an experience in the middle of becoming an adult that ripped me out of my family lives. I'm telling you about decisions that I made, behaviors that I took, that I had to be responsible for, that made me have to change, that made me have to look at me, to think about my actions, my behaviors. I'm telling you, I know what you mean when you say it can break you, right? But I'm telling you, it's not about the break. It's about what it makes you, right? It's about when you go through that, and this is where the peace comes from, is because they have this thing that says anything that doesn't kill me makes me stronger. And so many people look at that and they say it, but they don't really know what that means. That means that there are lessons, there are tools, there is strength. There's so much that you can get from your experience, but you have to be at peace to get it, right? You can't get it in chaos because you're all over the place. You're doing so many different things and they're not leading you to where you truly want to be. How do you get there? Peace. But it's you. That's the biggest thing that we have the misunderstanding of, is the assumption that peace is a behavior that must be demonstrated by people outside of us. I want to go back to what I was saying a few minutes ago. Snipers in the army, they lay down. I mean, talk to the best ones. They got some guys on YouTube who I've heard speak a couple of times. And there's some interesting stories and some articles that I've read and some books. I want you to think about the fact that when you talk about a person whose job is to is literally to hunt down and end lives, right? The ability to lay still, breathe calmly, and complete that task. And then you listen to them talk, and you find out that inside of them, there's so much turmoil. There's so much conflict, so much misunderstanding, because in their behaviors, you're like, oh, he looks so peaceful. Because he can lay there. Snipers lay there for days. Man, listen, you lay somewhere for days, you're in some of your own bodily fluids. Do you understand what I'm saying? And so we believe that this is a example and a demonstration of peace because they can lay there for so long and not move. But what we're truly missing is what's inside of them. And then you hear their stories and you hear about the things that they feel and how they try to find peace through alcohol, affairs, drugs, other forms of violent outlet. Like the lack of peace is something inside of them that it doesn't demonstrate outside, because outside of them, we celebrate them as warriors and as the great protectors and provider of our nation and our freedom. Peace is not a behavior. And so the belief that we can get to peace, or that we see peace in someone because of how they're behaving, is misleading, right? AA says, thanks for the talk. Peace out for now. Hey, brother, take care. Thank you very much. Have a great day. And we have to make sure that we're understanding when we know the fact that peace is not a behavior and peace is something that we have to achieve inside, then we start to see the power of it. Then we start to see in what ways it can provide for us, in what ways it can give us a greater understanding of our own journey, of where we're going, and what way it can help us to make sure we're walking the path that is right for us. We're going in the right way, right? So one of the things that's important along this journey is to also understand, Nancy, good morning, Nancy. How are you doing, Nancy? Welcome in. How have you been? Feeling good down there? Hope you are. So guys, one of the things that's important about this, one of the things I want to share in this moment, is that when we talk about being at peace, when you know who you are on the inside, you know how to handle things that happen on the outside. Again, the outside is the behaviors. The outside are the things that are tangible, that we can see, and we can say, hey, so-and-so and doing such and such. And this is how this particular thing means. Or this is what it shows. Completely different from being able to know the inside of someone, to know the catalyst, to know the true space from which the behaviors, the understanding, and the knowledge comes from. And in order for us to do that for ourselves, we need to be able to see and reach and speak to ourselves. It doesn't require isolation, but there is growth and understanding that you get by taking a moment when you are alone to understand where you are, where you're headed, the type of work that you're doing, what's important for you, what you're up to, what are your challenges, what are you trying to achieve, and have you established that peace within? Nancy said, God just answered my prayers. Well, that's wonderful, Nancy. Which prayer was that God was able to answer for you? That's what's up, Nancy. Taking strides. See? I think the last time you were here, Nancy, we were talking about the difference between waiting on God, making things happen, and letting things happen, right? So God will answer your prayers. God's got answers out there for you, but you got to take steps, right? You got to build that resume. You have to put in that work in what you do. You have to start to put things into place where you are in a position to receive that blessing when it's time. Today, we're talking about the power of peace. And one of the things that is going to demonstrate the power of peace is exactly what you said about your prayers being answered. Is one of the things that peace will provide for us is the ability to endure the types of situations or the types of experiences in our lives that make us feel like we're alone, that we're failing, that there's no way out. Peace does that. And then when it's time to celebrate, remaining, understanding that peace, understanding that even in those moments, we have peace inside of us, which allows for us at all times to be celebratory and joyful, because peace is ours. So when you say, so I used to say this a lot. I used to say, I just want peace. I just want peace. But it's not on anything outside of me. It's not on the behaviors or the actions of anything or anyone or any group of people outside of us. Peace has to be based on us. We have to live peacefully. We have to think in peace. And then once we start to do that, we'll start to see it present itself in our world. It doesn't mean that we won't get upset by things. It doesn't mean that we won't have challenges and there won't be frustrations. It does mean in the grand scheme of things, as we move forward, we understand, hey, I'm going to get through this as well. See, everybody assumes that when they say I want a happy life, it means that there's never any concern, right? There are no questions. There are no challenges. There's nothing. It's just happy. I want a happy life. Make me happy, right? But that's not what happy life means. When someone says, I want to be happy, that's on you. No one else can make you happy. No one else has the ability to create happiness for you. You need to understand what happy is. And it's the same thing. It's the same as peace. It's an emotion. It's not a behavior. This isn't happy. I mean, it's funny, but not necessarily happy. So we have to understand what we mean when we say we want to be happy, we want to be at peace. And we have to understand that that's in us, right? Nancy said, here's the problem. Live in Dallas and the job is located in Fort Worth. Okay, sounds like a bit of a commute. I moved out of Fort Worth about 10 months ago. Maybe God's telling you were supposed to be in Fort Worth. Here's my question to you. Should I take the housekeeping position? Man of God, I have 2 months left on my apartment lease. Okay. So there are a few things to consider. The practical part of it is pretty simple, Nancy. You moved out of Fort Worth, and this is some of the things that I talk about when we talk about making sacrifices and we talk about making decisions. You have to review why you moved out of Fort Worth. Did you move out of Fort Worth because it's something you had to do, or because it's something that you wanted to do, or because it's something that was attached to your greater purpose, to your bigger goal? Did you move to Dallas because there was something in Dallas that you needed to do? There was a purpose and a reason for you being in Dallas, and so you were drawn there. Or did you just move to Dallas just because? Now, the reason that's important, because you're talking about taking this housekeeping job, but this housekeeping job isn't the end. This new job isn't the end. This new job is a step towards living your purpose. It's an opportunity towards choosing a path and how you're going to live your purpose. Why is this relevant? Because when we as humans start to let things happen, right? Like right now, that opportunity is happening. Is this the opportunity that you want? If so, make it happen. Do what's necessary to make it happen. Commute, look for a new place in Fort Worth, make the changes, understand how it fits into your life, how you're going to live and what you're going to do. Conversely, the opposite side of it is, it's just happening and you're just going along with it. Which means when you get there, once again, you're just waiting for the next thing to happen. So right now, Nancy, the biggest thing that you have to do to consider in making this move is, am I moving and taking this job because it's where I want to be, right? And it's a part of my purpose, or I'm just taking it because it's available? Am I just letting this happen, or am I making this happen, right? Because you have to understand, we look at things and we say, hey, God just answered my prayers. This is a blessing for me. It's an opportunity, but is it the thing that God wants for you? Is this truly going towards your walk and your call? See, there is so much to go into being this human, to being this person, where we still have decisions to make. And I can't make the decision for you, but I can let you know that you need to focus on your purpose and your direction and figure out, is this the step that I want to take? You can pray and ask God for some understanding and some clarity on your purpose, but you have to choose your path, right? God will bless you with the gift, but then you have to say, hey, this is how I want to use it. This is where I'm going to go. This is what I'm going to do. These are the steps that I'm going to take. And then God, he validates that, because the things necessary to make those things happen, right? But you got to take a step. You got to choose a path first. If it's not the right way to go, God will help guide you. We assume that every time we take a step and it's challenging, that it's God telling us no, and it's not. We have to understand that any time we choose to do anything, there will be challenges. And you don't have to do things you don't want to do. But for everything that you want to do, you have to do everything necessary to do that thing. I know that sounds crazy, but that's the fact. Abdul said, I have 1,000 money, how to invest. You got 1,000 monies? Any way you want to, Abdul. Any way you want to. What are you trying to turn that 1,000 into, Abdul? If you're trying to turn that 1,000 into a million this week, I would say invest in poker chips. Nancy says my apartment lease was up, and my daughter told me that she wanted me in Dallas because she didn't want to drive 2 hours from Dallas to Fort Worth. Okay. I have a HUD apartment waiting for me in Fort Worth. Okay. So whose life are you living? Yours or your daughter's? I get it. Oh man, love our children. Love our children, but you have to understand, right now you're walking your journey, you're living your path. If your daughter does not want to make that 2-hour commute to Fort Worth in order to see you, hey, she has that right. Love her anyway. But you have to understand that living your life requires for you to live your life, to make decisions for your life. Falcon, what's up? What's going on this morning, Falcon? How you feeling, man? I'm having problems with my neighbors at my apartment complex in Dallas. So you just telling me all of the things, Nancy. You asked me a question, Nancy. You already answered. You trying to get me to tell you to stay in Dallas? Are you, Nancy? You know the answer to this question. You're laying it out, right? You're laying it out. You're like, hey, I have a place to go. I have things to do. It's a job that I want to have. We got to take the action. We got to do it. Listen, and it's not a bad thing or an evil thing. We just want to make sure with what we do that it's purposeful, right? If you have a HUD house waiting for you in Fort Worth, that means that you've already looked at moving back to Fort Worth. That's a part of it. The neighbors across from me have a key to my apartment. Oh, wow. And they've been going into my apartment every single time I exit. Yeah, that's easy. That's not even a question, Nancy. We're not even talking about a conversation anymore. Like, Nancy, let's go. You got to get up out of there. You get your locks changed. You need to buy a dog or something. I hear you, Nancy. Go ahead and do your thing. Yeah, your safety's on the line. These aren't hard questions to ask. Nemo, good morning. How are you doing? Divine protection, Nancy. Indeed. You got to read back up there, Falcon. Nancy was talking about having this job opportunity and then preparing to make that move and wondering if she should make the move because of the location, the distance, and the time between the job and where she is. Our walk and talk this morning is about peace, and this is a perfect example, Nancy. Peace is something within us. Nancy, you're talking about taking a job in Fort Worth. You're talking about God answering your prayers. You're talking about the decision to move to Dallas based on being closer to your daughter. You're talking like there's a lot of things that you had to take into consideration. There are things that have changed and become difficult in a certain way, but this decision has to be made in peace. So you have to have peace inside with who you are and what it is that you're choosing to do. Peace, because everything outside of you right now is chaos. Everything is chaos. The direction, The decisions, the behaviors, the actions, the fear, all of that is chaos. But see, when you find peace inside of yourself, you look into the midst of the storm and you say, okay, I see it. I see what's going on. Let's take the next step. It doesn't mean these things aren't going to be there. It doesn't mean there's not going to be a degree of frustration. Man, it's challenging because people are going into your property, and as soon as they know you're moving, they're going to be more apt to trying to remove more things from your property. And so you're trying to keep your stuff of value. I get it. It's like a whole lot of stuff going on. It's like, That's where we got to go. Peace. That's what the talk is about this morning, is how peace is powerful. How peace empowers you to be able to make decisions and take steps and then not worry, not be concerned, not be distraught about the decisions that you're making because of the direction that you're going. It's a big deal, guys. It's a really big deal. See if I can turn my light on. It's dark out. It's dark out here this morning. Y'all sitting. How many of y'all out here with me in the darkness this morning? How many of y'all out here on a walk? How many of y'all walking with me on the walk and talk? So, yeah, Nancy, I understand it. You said my daughter wants me to renew my apartment lease in January 26th. Come on, Nancy. You know this decision. We are setting an example as a race for the rest of the universe. If you nasty, what? Is that how you want them to see you? What? You love Fort Worth, go home. Marathon, I live in Memphis, Tennessee. Trouble finds you usually. No, ain't no deer scare me tonight. No, not this morning. I've been deer free, but it is that season when they start doing stuff like running out of the bushes. And try to have no deer run out no bushes on me. Y'all, you see, Falcon, you didn't see me. Listen, I'm searching these. I'm searching the tree line now. My wife bought me these lights to wear out here on this walk and talk. I think I need to start wearing them. Brighten it up, man. It is dark out here. It is nighttime. So, what are we saying about peace? What are we saying about decision makings and moving forward and living our best life? Hey guys, it's gonna always come down to us. Like I hear you, Nancy, you got a lot going on around you. AA was on earlier. He was talking about situations in the government and things that are happening. Somebody just came on and said, hey, I got 1,000 money. What should I do with it? Right? All of the decisions in life that we have to make, everything that we have to do has to come from within us, right? We have to establish discipline, and discipline is gained. Peace is gained through a greater degree of discipline, because as we have a greater degree of discipline, we have the ability to understand that the behaviors that we're taking are leading us to a destination. They're leading us to a goal. They're not random behaviors, right? Once we start to realize that and we start to act upon that and we start to live that way, we are able to create genuine change. And then we're empowered by it. And so the same way I say peace is power, power provides you with that peace. We cannot assume that peace means there will not be challenges. We cannot believe that peace is a behavior. It has to be achieved. We have to seek it out. We have to build it for ourselves. We have to establish it and then live within it. Hey, trust me, man, I'm telling you from experience. I know the difference between living in peace and living in chaos within my own self, regardless the environment or the circumstances. I said, bro, would you run from Winnie the Pooh? Would I run from Winnie the Pooh? Nah, I don't know. It depends. See, like in the cartoons, like he's a little bear. Like he's smaller than a boy, right? But then like, if it's a real world Winnie the Pooh about my size, dude, I'm running from real bears. Do you understand? Dude, ain't trying to fight no bear. Peace and chaos, you run from a bear. That's not a hard decision. Now, if it's a little puppet, you know, about an ankle high, no, I ain't running from a stuffed a stuffed animal. I tell you this though, Falcon. I give you this much, Falcon. I've seen the you ever seen the Child's Play movie with Chucky the doll? Man, I used to watch those. I'd be like, listen, y'all are making some horrible decisions. Like this isn't a hard decision to make. Y'all act like y'all legs don't kick. Guys, once again, thank you for being here this morning. I'm glad you participated on this walk and talk. It's good to have you here. Thank you for taking the time out of your day to stop in and join me. Remember, today we're talking about peace and how peace is power. Nancy says, my property manager may be related to the troublemaker. Nancy, girl, if you don't write this book, you better. Nancy, it sounds like your last year in Texas is a whole, and your last year in Dallas is a whole movie, girl. Oh, let me see. I believe that is who they got the spare keys from. The locks were changed the next day I moved into the apartment. It's all good, Falcon. It's all good indeed. I believe in a one-on-one I could win. People, peace is power. Peace is within you. Peace is what allows for you to function in chaos. Establishing it, understanding it, and walking in it will always lead you to a greater place in your life. Peace is not about the people around you, the circumstances that you sit in. It's not about your job. It's not about the politics of the nation. Peace is in you. And I'm telling you because I found peace in some horrible places. And it's the realization that when I found peace in that place, that it's in me. It's not the place. It's not the environment. It's not the things. It's not the concerns. It's not the trouble. It's the peace. And when you have it, you understand where you are. You can see what's ahead. And you live in that. You live in that understanding. You live in that knowing. Starts with discipline, guys. Discipline has 4 pillars. Those 4 pillars are going to be repetition, patience, consistency, and perseverance. In order to establish peace, you're going to have to, with repetition, understand and accept that it's yours. It belongs to you. It's internal. It's not a behavior. That's the first thing. This is why we write down gratitude. We take the time to write down the things that we're grateful for. We write them down and we look back on our day with gratefulness. And then we have to have patience of understanding, no, I'm not going to learn that, and I'm not going to be in every moment of peace all of the time, but it's where I'm headed. And then we need consistency. We need to continue to grow on it. We need to continue to find peace in ourselves and bring peace into the environments that we go into through our presence. And then ultimately, we have to persevere because there will be challenges to peace, there will be challenges to your growth, and there will be challenges to your development. Peace belongs to you. It's powerful, it's internal. Do not give it up. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you, everyone. Falcon, Nancy, it was a pleasure to have you on this morning. Please, Nancy, I want to please my daughter, but at the same time, I need peace. You got it. We just answered the question, Nancy. Fort Worth is where you need to be. You've said it a few times. That's where the benefit is. Just make sure that's where you want to be and make it happen. Don't assume because where you are has challenges means that's not where you're supposed to be. I appreciate you guys for being here this morning. As always, keep showing up, keep blowing up, keep growing up. And until next time, guys, have a great Thursday. God bless.